Hi everyone, it's Andrea over at Sewspire.com, and today I am here to kick off our beach bag series for the month of June here at Sewspire. We are going to begin by crafting a really awesome beach bag, which actually is bottomless. And I'm about to show you what I mean by bottomless in just a moment. I want to mention to you that I do have a design specification sheet for this project. That includes the pattern measurements, the materials list, as well as the finished measurements and a photo of the bag. So this is a PDF document, one page, and it's great to save for future inspiration. It also has the link to this very tutorial in it. So if you want to make it in the future, you don't have to search for the video which supplements it, okay? So without further ado, let me introduce you to the bottomless beach bag. We have along the front here 3 really deep, wonderful slip pockets. The same configuration on the rear, and then there are 2 awesome side pockets here that would be perfect for water bottles, sunscreen, perhaps even your glasses. Then we have a really long, wonderful key fob here that can be worn on that exterior outside pocket or on the inside pockets. We've got 2 nice sturdy handles. And then on the inside, there are 2 wide divided pockets. And hopefully you can see that translucent interior. I just think this is so much fun. And of course, it is completely appropriate for the beach. This is vinyl. I use like a hot pink vinyl. You could use clear vinyl as well. And it's going to allow a lot of light into the bag, but it's also going to keep the bottom of the bag dry for you. So it's a great bag, and I'm really excited to show you in this video how to sew this bag from start to finish. Before we get started, I just want to give you a few measurements here so you can determine if this bag will meet your needs. We are coming in at 15 inches tall and 5 inches deep. Across the base, we're 17 inches. And then across the top, it is 21 inches. So a really awesome bag. Shall we get started? Okay, so I want to begin by prepping the pockets. And so we're going to have a front and a rear set of slip pockets and then 2 side pockets on the exterior of this bag, as well as a bank of slip pockets on the interior. So the pockets are all going to be crafted in the same way. These are my exterior pockets that you see here, and these are the side pockets, which measure 6 by 12 inches. And I have my exterior print and then a accent print there so that I can stagger this pocket lip and get that little bit of detail across the top. This is one of my standard Sewspire pocket making methods, whereby I press over the top edge of both pieces of the pocket and then stagger that just a smidgen and run 2 rows of stitching across there. And the front and rear exterior pockets are 18 by 11. You're going to press over the top edges of both, stagger them slightly, and then run 2 rows of stitching across that top lip there to finish the pocket. All right, so in total, you're gonna need 2 of these larger pocket panels and 2 of the side pocket panels for the exterior of this bag. And I have my first exterior front panel prepped. I selected this really gorgeous watercolor floral with these beachy tones, that paired with the peach, and I just think this is a gorgeous combo. Okay, the exterior body panels are 18 by 18, so this is going to be a really lovely sized bag. And we are going to use a French seam to attach this pocket, so I will show you how to do that. I want to take a minute here and mention the interfacing to you. Because this is a beach bag, I went with the Decoville Light, which offers the fabric kind of a leather-like feel, and it is a fusible interfacing that comes on a bolt, but unfortunately it's only 17 inches across. So as a result, I opted to line up the bottom of that with the base of my panel and just leave the very top 1-inch part of this panel uninterfaced. And that I think will actually work in my favor because we're going to fold over this top edge anyways. So I just didn't want you to stress out or waste interfacing if you are in the same position as I am and you only have 17-inch interfacing to use, okay? Options, if you don't have access to the Decoville Light, you could use quilt batting, fusible fleece, the foam if you like. I just thought this would be a good choice for the beach, so that's what I went with. So my exterior panel is backed with that Decoville Light, and as mentioned, that one is all prepped. So I have a blank canvas here, and I am going to bring over the pocket that we just crafted together, which I folded in thirds and pressed in some vertical stitch lines so I could divide this. And so as mentioned, we're going to do this a little differently. What I want to do is turn the pocket upside down, right sides facing on this panel, and I want to align that bottom edge 3 inches from the base of that panel, and I'm just going to put a couple straight pins in there for a moment to hold that, and then I'm going to stitch right along that raw edge, and then I will be able to flip this pocket up and stitch again to encase that seam. Alright, and don't even fuss if your fabric puckers just a little bit. It is not a big deal. You're not going to see that. And then fold that pocket up, smooth everything out, and if you like, you can put your pins right at the top there just to hold that in place. And then you're going to run a row of stitching right along that bottom fold, and then come in and divide your pocket along those vertical press lines so you have a nice 3-way divided pocket. Okay, so now I have both my front and rear exterior panels prepped. So for the exterior side pockets, we're going to mount those on side panels, which are 6 by 18. We're going to use the same method, but we're going to bump up 4 inches. So I'll put that right sides facing, and then lay the top of the bottom of that pocket 4 inches up from the base and stitch right across there. And then I can flip that pocket up, and same thing, you may want to secure that at the top with a pin in the center, and then just stitch right across that bottom fold. And what that does is allow you to keep the pocket out of that base seam and distribute the weight of the contents of the pocket a little bit. Okay, so now I want to bring over my front panel here and position this side pocket panel, right sides facing along the right hand side of that. And those side panels are also backed with the Deco Veil light. And I have a second one with the pocket right at the top there. I'm going to position that right sides facing on the left hand side here. And then using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, I'm going to stitch down the right hand side, the left hand side, and this is going to create my three-way panel. Okay, so now I have my three-way panel. We will be using the Sewspire T method to assemble this bag. So the next step for me is to attach the base to that rear panel. So I'm going to set my front panel aside, bring over the rear panel, and I'm going to try something different with this bag that I think could be a lot of fun. I'm going to attach a pinkish vinyl base to this on the interior and the exterior so I can see to the bottom of the bag. So my base panel is going to go right sides facing along the bottom of this. And you may need a Teflon foot to sew through this vinyl, which by the way is 6 by 18. If you don't want to use the vinyl, you can use fabric, absolutely no problem. Here's my little Teflon roller foot, and it just has a little roller bar right there in the middle. So I'm going to switch out to that so that I can stitch along this vinyl, no problem. So using 5/8 of an inch, I'm going to stitch right across the bottom there. Okay, so that looks good on this side. So now what I want to do is trim this up within 1/4 inch of the vinyl there. And this was another reason that I selected the Deco Veil light, because it's fusible and leather-like, so it's going to give me a little neater finished edge here, because part of this finished edge is going to be visible on the bag there. So I wanted to have it as tidy as possible, and I am really happy with that look. So I have this translucent base here, so I'm going to set that aside for a second, and I'm going to trim up the right hand and left hand edges of that tri-folding panel, which we just created by attaching those side pocket panels to the front exterior panel. Okay, so I want to open up this tri-folding panel here. These are the tops of my pocket. So this is the base here. And I want to bring back over this double panel with the base. And I'm going to turn it over right sides facing. And I'm going to center that vinyl base on that tri-folding panel, and I'm going to stitch seam to seam using that 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now please note, seam to seam is different than end to end. I'm fitting this up on here and backing in so I can start right on that seam. Okay, now I have something that resembles a very large T. So far, I am really happy with this vinyl base. What I need to do though is go ahead and trim up that new seam there within 1/4 inch. So you're going to have to angle in a bit here. Again, here's the big T. Now I want to take the base of my side and align it with the side of my base. You might be able to see that better over here. So I'm going to fold this over so the base of this side is aligned with the side of the base. And this is a big bag, so you're going to have to work one side at a time, but get it folded over like that, and you can see right through that vinyl, and stitch seam to seam. And then you can trim that up to 1/4 inch. You're going to repeat that process on the other side. You're just aligning the base of the side with the side of the base and stitching seam to seam using a 5/8 of an inch. And then same thing, go ahead and trim that up. Now you have your translucent base attached, which is a blast. So now we want to align those side panels there. And I like to clip both of them and then peek inside and make sure that I'm happy with the pocket placement there, because you do have a little bit of room to adjust if needed. I just want to make sure that those pockets are level, and it's looking good. So now I'm going to stitch down that right hand side and that left hand side. You can start from the base or you can start from the top, whatever works for you, but you're starting right at that seam or finishing at that seam and using that 5/8 of an inch. The vinyl is kind of tough, so you might have to squish that out of your way. And once you get those sides attached, then go ahead and trim those up to 1/4 inch as well. And then you're going to turn your exterior right side out. And that's a really pretty and really large bag. So now you want to take that top edge and go ahead and fold that over about 1.5 inches. I ended up folding that in on the top substantially more. It ended up being about 2 inches for me. You have the freedom to make yours taller or shorter. Some of that is the result of that shorter interfacing. If you have full cuts of interfacing, you can go ahead and maximize the height of your bag. But in case anyone was wondering, I did take a generous top fold there of 2 inches. That will offer the top of my bag a little bit more stability anyways, so I'm okay with that, and the proportions look beautiful. I am digging the translucent base, and I'm really happy with how the seams look so far. They're not too bad thanks to that Decoville light. Okay, so the exterior is done. I have 3 really nice pockets on the front and the back, and then my 2 nice side pockets. I'm going to set this aside and work on the interior. So because I have the Decoville on the exterior, I am not going to use interfacing on the interior of this. I do have a pocket for the inside here, which is the exact same measurements as the exterior pockets, 18 by 11. Now I took that top edge and I folded that over, staggered it just a bit, and ran 2 rows of stitching across there. My interior panels are also 18 by 18, and I want to do the same thing and position this interior pocket 3 inches up from the base, stitch across there, and then flip that pocket up. Then I can just flip that over to hide that raw edge. And you have some freedom with the interior pockets depending upon what your contents are. You could divide those in half, you could divide those in thirds. I think I am going to go right down the middle with mine because there will probably be larger items on the interior of this. So I'm just going to first stitch across the base of this pocket and then right down the center. Okay, so I have my interior front pocket panel all prepped. I also have an interior rear panel, which is 18 by 18. You have the option of attaching pockets to this if you'd like. And then I have two interior side panels, which are 6 by 18. And I have an interior vinyl base panel because I would want that translucent as well. Otherwise it wouldn't serve much purpose for me to have the translucent base on the exterior other than it being waterproof, but I wouldn't want to see the raw side of my interior either. So I am going to use a vinyl for the interior as well at the base, and you do have the option of adding side pockets to these side panels if you wanted. So I'm going to attach my side panels on the right and the left hand side of my front interior pocket panel there. And I will be stitching down the right and the left hand sides with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance to create that tri-folding panel. And I'm going to go ahead and prep this opposite panel here with the vinyl. So the vinyl is just going right along the base. And that's exactly where I will be stitching, is right across the base there using 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so now I have my tri-folding panel and my bi-folding panel. I want to go ahead and trim up all those seams to a 1/4 inch. Alright, and then I'm going to open up the tri-folding panel. My pockets are at the top here, and I'm going to center that vinyl base on that tri-folding panel, and I'm going to stitch seam to seam using the 5/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to come in and trim that up to a 1/4 inch. Someone may be wondering what the weight of this vinyl is, and I actually don't know. I bought it as a remnant. It does feel pretty thick though, but I can still sew through it and cut it with ease, so hope that helps with your decision. So now I have my large T there, and I want to go ahead and align the base of my side with the side of my base and stitch across there using 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to repeat that on the opposite side, aligning the base of the side with the side of the base. And then I want to align the sides there, and there are no pockets, so I can just go ahead and stitch right from the top to that base seam, nothing to worry about. And then once those sides are joined up, you can go ahead and trim those up. Okay, so the interior stays wrong side out. I just want to turn that top edge over about 2 inches there. I don't have any interfacing, so I'm probably safe finger pressing this. And then I'm going to fit this inside that exterior. Make sure that you don't have any loose threads on this or little bits of fabric, because now you got this translucent bottom. You don't want a little thread to fall down in there and get sandwiched in between the layers, and then you're constantly looking at that and unable to remedy that. So if you have pets or whatever, you might want to give this a lint roll beforehand, and I think I'm okay. So I'm going to do the same thing, peek inside of here and see if there are any threads that I could knock out of here. No. Okay, and then I'm going to fit this. And in this case, it doesn't really matter which side the pockets go on, because only one panel has pockets. I like to begin by aligning the side seams first. And then you can come around the front and the back and just pull on that fabric, put a clip in the middle, and then you can come back in and add a few more clips at the quarter marks. And as long as your seam allowances were consistent, your lining should fit very nice. And I can see right through that bottom. How fun is that? Yay, that's really cool. Oh, so fun. Okay, and the bag stands up on its own. It does have, again, like that leather-like feel to it, so it should be good for beach use there. Now the next thing that I want to do is craft the straps for this project. And I also have a very long key fob, which is going to get tucked in between the interior and the exterior layers, so that the keys can either be worn on the outside of the bag or on the inside of the bag. So the key fob is 3 by 18 inches, and you are going to press that in half long ways. Bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line, and then go ahead and run a row of stitching down that open end and the opposite edge. The actual swivel fob is 1/2 inch. And that's going to give me a 4-ply fob strap, and I'm just going to slide my 1/2 inch swivel fob on that and fold that right in half. You could add a rivet if you wanted to this, and then these raw edges are going to get tucked in between the interior and the exterior layers, and that will allow me a nice long fob. So my straps are crafted from 2 pieces of material that are 6 by 30, and on the inside channel there I have pressed on a 3 inch by 30 inch piece of the Decoville Light. So use the same process, fold in half long ways, press, open that up, and bring those outer edges inward to meet on that center press line. Sandwich in your Decoville Light in the channel, fold that over and press again. Then you're going to run a row of stitching down that folded edge, down the opposite edge, and right down the center to get a really nice durable strap. Okay, now I have 2 really nice straps plus a key fob. So I'm going to position my straps 4 inches from the side seam. I like to use the pins for the straps. I am tucking them down in there inch and a half, because I want to be able to run 2 rows of stitching across there. Beach bags can become heavy if they're loaded up. Then I'm going to position the second strap 4 inches from that side seam. And you want to make sure that your straps are the same height. And for the beach bag, I think the long fob is a really nice touch. So now I'm going to remove the machine deck, put this beautiful bag up on there, and sew all the way around the perimeter of the top of the bag. I'm going to reinforce my straps with a back stitch. I'm going to come back in and add a second row of stitching to those straps to really reinforce those handles. You could also reinforce those handles with rivets. I like to start at the side of the bag, and the vinyl is going to require you to smash that down a bit. So I start right at the side. I'm aligning the right hand edge of my presser foot with the top of the fabric. Wow, that turned out great. Thank you all so much for sewing with me today. Don't forget there's a design specification sheet or a one-page PDF document that supplements this tutorial. You can find the link for that down in the notes. I want to thank you in advance for your purchase of the PDF that supplements this video tutorial. Your purchase helps support the channel. It helps me buy more fabric, maintain the equipment, and continue to produce these awesome videos for you each week. So I hope you enjoyed this bottomless beach bag tutorial. Next week, we are going to be making a round, stout cooler bag that will be an accessory to our awesome beach bag. So I hope you'll join me next Friday, 12 p.m. noon Eastern, to sew our stout cooler bag. Until then, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you have a beautiful week, everyone. Thank you for sewing with me.